Aiden Shaw boarded the train as a buyer in a diamond deal, but the switch wasn't jewels. It was a USB drive packed with US secrets. Branded rogue by MI6, hunted by the CIA, he becomes a ghost both sides fear. Now Aiden must choose, run for his life or expose the truth that could bring governments crashing down. Rain misted the stone facades of Paris as Aiden Shaw stepped onto Rue de Bercy. The collar of his greatcoat turned up against the chill. Beneath his calm exterior, the MI6 operative was on edge. His mark had just exited the Hotel Mercury, a man known in whispers as Roth, an intermediary for arms brokers operating between the Balkans and the Gulf. Aiden wasn't here to make contact, he was here to become him. At Gare de Lyon, a private train was set to depart within an hour. Destination, Milan. Somewhere between those cities, a transaction was scheduled. Untraceable diamonds in exchange for stolen royal heirlooms. Aiden's job was simple in theory: intercept Roth, take his place, and complete the deal to expose the wider network. He followed Roth to the service entrance of the hotel, footsteps silent, breathing steady. In the stairwell, the opportunity presented itself. Roth paused to answer a call. Aiden struck, seizing the man's arm and slamming him into the concrete wall. "Who's the contact?" he growled. Roth only smiled. Then he bit down. The sound was soft, a click, a hiss, and foam spilled from his lips as he convulsed, crumbling at Aiden's feet. Suicide pill, oxide compound, dead in seconds, no answers, no backup. Aiden cursed under his breath. There was no time to retreat. He stripped Roth of his coat, wallet, ID, and the black leather briefcase chained to his wrist. The passport photo was close enough. He slipped into the identity with practice ease, checked the watch, and made for the station. The train departed exactly on schedule. Aiden settled into his private compartment, eyes scanning the corridors, ears turned to footsteps. Just past Dijon, the door slid open. She entered like a knife wrapped in silk, tall, late 30s, dressed in a tailored diplomatic ensemble with a small leather satchel slung over one shoulder. Her eyes were glacial blue, calculating. She didn't ask for verification. She simply sat and set the satchel on the seat beside him. "You are early," she said, "but I suppose caution runs in your blood." Aiden offered a neutral smile. "You have what I came for?" She unzipped the satchel and withdrew a sleek black USB drive, placing it on the table between them. Everything as promised. Aiden hesitated. Diamonds weren't stored on drives. He picked it up slowly. "I expected something heavier." She smirked. "You'll understand soon enough." Without another word, she stood and exited. The train pulled into Lausanne. Minutes later, she disappeared into the crowd before Aiden could follow. Hours later, in a Milan hotel, with peeling wallpaper and a flickering ceiling fan, Aiden sat alone with the drive. He connected it to the encrypted laptop. What appeared wasn't jewelry. It was a digital vault of US government secrets, high-level CIA assets, satellite surveillance records, operation logs marked eyes only, drone strike authorizations, cover identities, internal memos implicating agencies, and foreign destabilizations. Names of agents buried so deep, even Aiden had only heard rumors. His pulse slowed. Not diamonds. This was a bomb. And now, he held it. By morning, the storm had begun. Aiden barely had time to digest the contents of the USB before his phone buzzed, not with calls, but with silence. Tower signals collapsed around him. His laptop's secure connection blinked red. At first, he thought it was a glitch. Then he heard it, a high-pitched drone, faint but unmistakable, hovering in the great Milani sky above the alley behind his hotel. He moved fast, ducking out of the fire escape. Within minutes, two unmarked vehicles pulled up to the hotel's rear entrance. He was already gone. He expected MI6 to reach out, a reprimand, a debrief, a demand for the USB. What he didn't expect was a blackout. Every MI6 channel he tried bounced, secure contacts routed to dead ends. Then came the message, cloaked in a scrambled cipher, routed through an old Berlin safe house relay. Aiden Shaw, status, rogue, operation cancelled, retrieve asset by any means. And then the initials beneath it, HD, Hastings Doyle, his own handler, the woman who had vouched for him for over a decade. Now she had signed the kill order. The British had flipped, and they weren't alone. Satellite tracking patterns suggested a ping that had gone up through Langley. Americans wanted the drive back. Now, Whatever was on the USB drive wasn't just embarrassing, it was lethal to careers, cover operations, entire intelligence networks. But Aiden didn't run, he disappeared. From Milan, he vanished into the underworld, arteries of Europe. First Zurich, where he ditched his phone and ID, then Prague, his old fallback. The city's Cold War roots ran deep, and he knew every tunnel, every abandoned Soviet communications hub beneath its cobblestone streets. He burned his documents in a rusted furnace beneath a railway bridge. The man who emerged was not Aiden Shaw, he was a ghost. He kept moving burner phones, cryptic check-ins with former allies, friends who owed favors from darker days. Each time the response was the same. They're coming, both sides. MI6 sent their cleaner units, black bag agents trained for zero visibility captures. The CIA sent contractors, deniable but well armed. One nearly got him in Budapest. They fought atop a warehouse roof, fists and elbows cracking in the pouring rain. The American drew first blood with a blade to Aiden's side, but Aiden countered, disarmed him, and launched them both off the ledge into the river below. Aiden didn't surface until 4 blocks downstream. The whispers spread faster than truth. Shaw had gone dark. Shaw had defected. Shaw had sold secrets to China. A full-scale discrediting operation, fabricated proof, fake bank accounts, leaked chat logs. Enough to bury him if he died. Enough to silence him if he survived. But Aiden is in the files. He knew this wasn't about treason. It was about protection. Someone powerful needed this truth erased, and they were willing to destroy their own to do it. So be it. He was no longer running. He had a new mission now. Not survival. Exposure. London was a city of eyes. Aiden Shaw moved like a ghost beneath it. Since the blackout, every face of his was flagged, real or fake. Every checkpoint, CCTV feed, and airport scanner along the channel had his image circulating in red. But he knew how to become forgotten. He knew how to haunt his own past. Under the alias Mark Fallon, he boarded a rust-streaked freight car, bound for Calais, paid for in favors rather than euros. The train's cargo was scrap electronics, and he carried no guards. Just a cold metal floor and the soft rattle of wheels heading toward the tunnel. Crossing into the cave wasn't the hard part. Staying invisible in London was. Drones traced heat signatures in parks, cameras used gait recognition to identify movement patterns. But Aiden had once trained the people who built those systems. He passed through under layers of deception, posture changed, limp added, bone structure masked with surgical grade prosthetics. Even his pulse, slowed with breath control, fell outside biometric profiles. His destination was a fortress, MI6 headquarters, Vauxhall Cross, the SIS building, a place where friends had become executioners. His plan was precise: bypass the grid, ascend the structure, reach one woman who still might believe in him, Director Margaret Ellison. She had been with MI6 since the Cold War, a survivor of internal purges and political betrayals. Rumor has it that she had once leaked intel to the press to stop an illegal rendition program. If anyone within the walls of MI6 still valued truth over allegiance, it was her. Aiden watched the SIS building from across the Thames, crouched inside an old maintenance tunnel. At 2:17 a.m., cloud cover and heavy rain gave him the opening he needed. He moved, climbing gear rigged tight, black gloves, a stolen retina scanner hanging from his belt, procured months ago from a Russian mall in Istanbul. It took him 11 minutes to scale the northern facade, slipping between blind angles in the motion detectors. Twice, a security drone passed overhead. He froze, heart hammering against the glass, but the rain distorted the heat signature. It moved on. He breached an auxiliary vent and crawled into the heart of the building that once called him loyal. The SIS halls were hushed, brushed steel and echoing stillness. Lights stayed in the night mode. Most floors ran on automated lockdown. After hours, Aiden knew the ventilation schematics, knew the override codes from a long-forgotten Syrian mission he'd helped rewrite. Past the executive briefing wing, down a corridor with fiber optic wall panels glowing faintly blue, he found it. Director Ellison's office. She was there, alone. Back straight, silver hair pulled into a tight bun, reading classified reports under a low desk lamp. When Aiden entered and silently shut the door, she looked up, calm, unflinching, and reached beneath her desk. The pistol was in her hand before he could speak. Aiden Shaw, she said evenly. You're supposed to be dead. He raised both hands slowly. Not yet. Then start talking, and pray I still care enough to listen. For a moment, no one spoke. The pistol in Director Ellison's hand remained steady, trained on Aiden's chest. Her eyes, piercing, ice gray, studied every breath he took, every flicker of movement. Aiden kept his hands raised, slow and measured, the USB drive balanced in one palm like a confession. "Before you shoot," he said quietly, "read the files. If you still think I'm a traitor afterward, take the shot." Her jaw tensed, years of protocol warred with instinct. Then finally, she stepped back, put it on the desk. Slowly, Aiden complied, placing the USB on the polished wood between them. Ellison reached for a separate terminal, a closed circuit system unconnected to the MI6 mainframe. She inserted the drive and typed in a layered override code only directors could authorize. The monitor glowed, then it flooded. Document after document spilled across the screen. CIA black sites built beneath schools in Syria and Argentina. Disappearances of whistleblowers ruled as freak accidents. Shell companies routing funds for operations meant to destabilize unfriendly elected governments. Aiden said nothing. He let the truth do the talking. Then came the asset list. MI6 operatives, names she recognized. Some declared KIA, others recently pulled from the field. The files traced a chilling pattern. Every one of them had been compromised by CIA infiltration teams without informing London. A quiet betrayal, years in the making. Ellison's hands trembled as she gripped the mouse. This can't be real." "It is," Aiden said. "I verified 3 of the coordinates myself. I didn't understand what I had until I saw who they were targeting." Her eyes flicked over the digital signatures, encrypted pings, and time-stamped satellite feeds that could not be faked. The weight of it settled in her shoulders. "If this leaks," she murmured, "the G7 collapses, NATO fractures, the US will disavow everything. We'll be the first to fall." Aiden stepped forward. "Then maybe it's time they do, because if they get away with this, we're not intelligence, we're puppets." Ellison stared at him for a long moment. Then she made her decision. She closed the terminal, turned off her desktop, and moved to a locked drawer behind her. From it, she withdrew a black-rimmed security tablet, a device with access to one of the most guarded networks in Europe, Sentinel Grey, a digital dead drop for whistleblower tribunals and transactional justice systems buried in layers of diplomatic immunity. "I never believed the world would end in nuclear fire," she said grimly. Just in silence, she powered the tablet and began the upload. Aiden moved toward the door, locking it with a manual override just as alerts began flashing red on Ellison's wall display. "Perimeter breach, sub-level access triggered. Motion detected in the western stairwell." "They're here," he said. 3 minutes, Ellison replied, fingers flying across the screen. "Just hold them off. I need 3 damn minutes." Outside, the hallway lights turned from white to amber. Aiden unholstered his pistol, checked the magazine, looked at Ellison, who gave him a sharp nod. He took position behind the reinforced glass wall. This wasn't just about escape anymore. This was about revelation. The hallway exploded in motion. Boots thundered, shouts echoed, red beams cut through darkness like slicing blades. MI6 tactical agents swarmed the corridor outside Director Ellison's office, visors down, rifles raised, breathing steady in synchronized patterns. Aiden kept his pistol drawn, his back pressed to the wall. Beside the door, no escape, only time. Then Ellison stepped out. "Stand down," she barked, flashing her override badge. "Director level command. This man is not the enemy." The agents froze. Confused glances flicked between her and Aiden's armed silhouette. Aiden didn't lower his weapon. Not yet. Not until the red indicator light on the wall monitor shifted to green. Upload complete. Ellison didn't blink. He uncovered what we weren't meant to see. The betrayal was internal. "Stand down." Hesitation hung in the air like smoke. And slowly, one by one, the agents lowered their rifles. The storm receded, if only for a moment. Back in the office, the encrypted tablet pinged quietly. Files were already duplicating across mere nodes in Iceland, Germany, and a dozen journalist safe nets. Within hours, digital vaults opened. The truth, buried for decades, began to breathe. By morning, it was everywhere. Thousands of pages of classified documents flooded secure forums and encrypted press channels. Operation names, real-time satellite footage, internal government memos confirming clandestine coups, assassinations, and ghost prisons. Evidence of MI6 assets sacrificed under silent agreements with foreign powers. CIA authorization signatures scrawled over black ink death orders. The world gasped. Protests erupted in capital cities. Intelligence agencies were subpoenaed. Ministers resigned. The White House denied involvement. Then went dark. Diplomatic relations cracked like old porcelain. Allies demanded answers, enemies laughed, and behind closed doors, the old world began to collapse. But Aiden Shaw was nowhere to be found. He didn't wait for praise or punishment. He disappeared through the storm he helped create. Ellison stood alone before a parliamentary ethics tribunal, calm and unapologetic. When asked who helped her leak the truth, she said only a man with nothing to gain, only something to restore. They tried to erase him. They failed. Far away, buried in the haze of an Eastern European winter, Aiden stood in a crowd, hood up, face weathered, eyes steady. Around him, news tickers blared headlines in multiple languages. Agencies under review, fallout from Ghost Archive, leak continues, anonymous source still unnamed. He sipped cheap coffee from a paper cup and listened to the world unravel. The faces in the crowd passed him by, strangers unaware that the man beside them had pulled the pin on the reality, and he preferred it that way. He didn't need a name in the papers, or a monument, or even a medal. He needed silence, and the knowledge that he hadn't failed. He had seen corruption and refused to blink. He had become the ghost they couldn't kill. As the wind picked up, Aiden smiled faintly and pulled his hood tighter. Then he turned and vanished into the crowd, because the world needed to know, and now they do.